TNA Lockdown 2007. Yeah, sure, every match is in a steel cage, but that doesn't mean every match is the same. We got men, we got women, we got teams, we got singles, we got electrified cages, we got blindfolds, we got guitars and thumbtacks and some aggressive cucking, I think, on Eric Young. I think that's what. Also, sharks. A lot going on here. It's TNA. It's 07. You know what it is. But let's dive right into it. Right here on the Apron Bump Podcast.
Yeah. And the hardest, talk around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what heart is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock this. Let's get started.
What is up, everybody? Howdy, howdy, howdy. How's everybody doing today? Welcome to the Apron Bump Podcast. I'm your host, the hardest part of the ring, Kyle Bird. How's everybody doing? Happy belated 4th of July for all those who celebrate. I hope everybody's got all their digits and all their appendages still locked onto their body. Would hate to lose those. A lot of explosives, I'm sure, from this past weekend. But speaking of explosive, boy howdy. We got Lockdown 2007 from old Total Nonstop Action Wrestling. Coming to you from St. Louis, Missouri. So they're venturing out of the Impact Zone once again, making it feel like a pay-per-view. What a novel concept. This is a pretty good show, actually. You know, TNA is a little hit and miss. And boy, howdy, do they take big, I mean, just big power swings. TNA does. When they hit, it hits. And when they miss, I mean, that baseball bat comes flying out of their hands and hits a little Mexican child in the crowd. It is either the best or the worst. And we get a lot of both on this show. But yes, every match, if you're unfamiliar with the Lockdown concept, every match is contested in a solid steel cage. Calling it a steel cage, though, here would be a little generous. We get more into that. But like I said in the cold open, we got a lot of wacky gimmicks to kind of give each of these cage matches their own flavor. And some of them work, some of them don't. The main event of this show is Team Angle versus Team Cage in a lethal lockdown match, which for all intents and purposes it's a War Games match. The ceiling lowers on top of the cage. There's weapons and stuff. But we're coming off of Destination X, where Christian Cage just barely escaped with his NWA championship against Samoa Joe. So that feud kind of continues, but we also inject Kurt Angle into the mix, who is going for the title, and he calls on a partner because he needs to it's a 5-man team. They had 4. They had Kurt, Sting, Joe, and Rhino. They needed a 5th guy. Who do they call? Oh, JEFF, JARRETT. My boy Jeff Jarrett has returned to be that 5th man and take it on Christian's coalition. He's building himself a bit of a faction over there. So we got a lot of fun stuff up top. We also got, the X Division titles on the line. We got the birth of the Motor City Machine Guns kind of in this show. And we got some women's action, which is a very rare occurrence. We got AMW finally are coming to blows, but it's in maybe one of the worst matches I've ever seen, completely due to the gimmick of it. But speaking of gimmicks, speaking of culminations of feuds, we got LAX defending their tag team titles against the Dudley Boys in an electrified steel cage match. You hear that and you might be wondering, hardest part of the ring, how does that work logistically? You can't just electrocute a right. You're right. And they work their way around it and not a very good way. But we get into all of this. There's a lot to get into. TNA 07 is a trip. It's a fever dream. But speaking of dreams, I got myself a dreamboat guest on the pod today. Matt from the Shining Wizards podcast returns to the show. Always a good old time with my boy Matthew. Go check out the Shining Wizards podcast. They are live every Monday at 7 o'clock Eastern time. You can catch them on YouTube, on Twitter, Twitch, maybe. I think they're on Grinder Live and all that stuff. But all of this is in the description below. Check out their website, the link tree, all of that stuff. Catch them live or catch them after the fact on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. They get into all the major scuttlebutt in wrestling. They cover all the major happenings, all the shows that are not all the shows that are happening, but the big ticket items as it is. But they have a good old time doing it. Ultimately, their show's super entertaining, hilarious. They do little segments. They have guests. They do interviews. They do it all. It's just a potpourri of wonderment over there at the Shining Wizards. So go check them out. Like I said, all of this stuff is in the description. Follow them on all the social medias. They're approaching episode 700. They've been doing this shit for like 12 years, I think. 12, 13 years, something like that. I don't know. I wasn't even able to drink when they started doing the podcast. So, yeah. One day they'll get good at it. But no. No, great group of guys over there. Hey, you can catch me there by the way. Every third Monday of the month, Daddy has a little segment on the Shining Wizards HJC where I go on the show, give everybody a couple of hand jibbers, and make my way out. So, but no, it's always a fun time going on there. And yeah, anything else I need to plug? Hey, if you like TNA, you like this era of TNA, maybe you just want to learn more about the promotion. Maybe you want to hear me gallivant about their journey through all the Vince Russo bullshit, all this stuff that you love to hear about. There'll be a link in the description as well. But you can go to apronbump.com. That'll bring you to all of the TNA episodes or all the TNA pay-per-views that I've covered, starting from their very first 3-hour pay-per-view in 2004, all the way up to now, midway through 2007. So it's a lot of this. It's a lot of wackiness and goofiness, but it's always fun. With some good wrestling chucked in there every once in a while. So I think I've babbled enough. I think we should just get in this cage, lock the doors, plug it in, and wrap a black hood around my head and call it a day. TNA Lockdown 2007 with myself and Matt from the Shining Wizards podcast. I was like, you know what? This needs some ambiance to it, I think.
You're very, I like it. I'm impressed.
I'm very what?
You're very prepared. Like, I like this. This fits the theme of this episode.
I'm sorry it's not electrified, but I did as much as I could, you know?
Maybe you and me can bring the electricity.
Coming out hot. Just dropping the fire right away, huh? I like it.
Yeah, that might be the best you get out of me today. I'm not feeling
Might as well just call it a day.
Yes, let's wrap it up. And this has been an excellent episode of the Apron Bump Podcast. Hope you enjoyed Lockdown 2007. Matt from the Shining Wizards, and we'll see you later.
Are you the fucking host now?
I thought we were wrapping it up. I am the cat comer.
So, you said you weren't feeling well? Is that what you were about to say?
Yeah, man. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's I just took an allergy pill, so maybe it's just my allergies.
Although was the party yesterday?
The work party? No. But last weekend, I blew my voice out at the midget wrestling show.
They do midget wrestling around here a lot, too. I've never been, but your synopsis made me want to.
You got to go.
Yeah?
You got it. It was such a good time.
It just feels like, I don't know, man. I just can't imagine it smells good in there. It's going to be hot.
I mean, look, I if you listen to the Shining Wizard Wrestling podcast, they give a whole breakdown. It was not, well, the people that listen to your wonderful show, though, maybe they don't know. Maybe they don't know that every third Monday, Kyle from the Apron Bump podcast is doing HJC. But it wasn't like a wrestling crowd.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it was like some people got like dressed up like it was a fucking date night. There were like there was like these two 75-year-old grandparents in the front row. Like, it was wild. It was wild. I highly recommend it.
Just wanted to see some midges. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, man. You're not gonna get any. You're not gonna get like Jerry Lynn. Holy shit! I just watched Christopher Daniels.
Yeah, there weren't any midgets on the show, I don't think.
No, you're not going to get any, 4-star matches, but you're going to have a good time at the Midget Mayhem Wrestling.
Jackie Moore is very close to a midget. I had to look it up. She's like 5'3". I think it's like 4 inches off from being a midge.
Is Mike Tenay a midget?
I don't think so. How tall is? I would guess he's probably like 5'6". I would guess he seems like a normal.
6.
He is. He's 69. Oh, it's almost like nobody's ever looked up how tall he was before.
Yeah, that's not part of. Wikipedia only tells you when they were born.
Well, one of us needs to add it.
One of us. One of us.
Who's gonna check? I mean, unless Wikipedia's got that kind of information locked down. But speaking of which, TNA Lockdown, 2007, buddy. What'd you make of the show? Are you familiar with this era of TNA at all? By the way,
he's 5'8", and no,
oh thank God,
I'm not. I was not watching wrestling during this era.
What were you watching instead?
I wasn't watching any. I don't know. I can't even tell you. All I could think about was every time Jeremy Borash came on the screen, I was like, thank God I didn't fucking dress like him in 2007.
Why is his collar so big? It gets bigger every time I see it too, by the way. It's just, I don't know, man. It's not good.
It's the collar. It's the hair. It's the fucking douchey puka necklace with like the fucking Hardy Boys logo on it.
Fuck yeah.
No, I wasn't watching wrestling during this era at all. I had stopped watching after WWF bought WCW.
Right.
So I was completely out. So this was all new to me.
And initial thoughts, just overall thoughts of what, because this is it's a very interesting show to say the least, but
I went into it with low expectations. And I only really didn't like 1 or 2 matches. The rest of it I thought was pretty good. And
right.
There were a lot of things that happened during the show that I had to look up and I thought were pretty interesting.
Yeah, I'll say, because I did too, because I was looking at the card and I was watching all the impacts leading up to the show. I was like, I don't think this is going to be a very good show. But after watching it, it was mostly pretty good. I mean, like you said, there's a few duds in there. There's actually, fun fact, there is one match on this show that old Dave Meltzer, or the awards, whatever, the Observer Awards, whatever, it got voted the worst match of the year across the board.
I think I know what match that is.
Give me a guess.
Does it involve a couple of blindfolds?
Oh, those Ku Klux blindfolds. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I would love to know, like just like I want to like go back to like when they're all at the table and they're like, let's do a pay-per-view where every match is inside of a steel cage, and then let's add another stipulation to almost all of these matches.
Yeah, which I get to an extent, because I get wanting to like change the flavor of the cage match a little bit, give it a little zest. You know, this one's electrified, this one's you can escape, this one's whatever. But the every match in a steel cage, I don't care. I mean, it just doesn't. Like, the show was fine, but I don't think the cage really added a lot to pretty much any of the match except like the main events and I guess the tag team title match. But I guess, overall, what are your thoughts on the concept of every match is a cage?
I think it's fucking stupid. Stupid as shit. When I grew up watching wrestling, here's me, old man Matt, get off my lawn, fucker.
Oh, yeah. He's dying. He's old.
Yeah, no. Like the cage match was like a blow off, right? So like we saw it, the WWE did it too, like with Hell in the Cells. Like we're just gonna, we're gonna just have a pay per view called Hell in the Cell, and like 3 matches will be in the cell, and it won't be the blow off. It'll just be because it's during this pay per view. I was like, whatever. They didn't fucking use the cage for anything. I don't know. I thought it was fucking stupid. I didn't like it. It stinks, and I don't like it.
Wow. Harsh words from Matt from the Shining Wizards.
Right, look, you started the show, and I know we'll get there, but like with the X Division, like nobody did anything spectacular off the fucking cage.
There was like, first of all, let's talk about the cage, just the cage itself, because this is not the typical cage. Even in TNA, this is not their typical cage, and I would guess it's because of the quote-unquote electrified steel cage match that we get in the co-main event, I guess. But it's like, I don't know. It's like, because you have the 6-sided ring, so you have 6 steel posts, and then it's like wires. Like, it's not like a steel cage. It's like wires with like little bolts, whatever, connecting them. It was like almost like a very loose mesh rather than a cage. Like, the only steel part was the door to get into the ring. So everybody, if anybody has to use the cage walls in any of the matches, they have to go to the specific part where the door is to use it. Otherwise, the cage barely came into play at all through the show, which, to your point, why the cage pretty much adds nothing to the match. It almost just adds restrictions to a lot of these matches because they didn't use it. So I'm inclined to agree with you for the most part.
Look, if you call it lockdown and you use it for the last 2 matches, okay, like,
right.
But every fucking match, did I really need fucking low key Austin Aries and Bob Backlund locked in a cage? It sounds like somebody's fucking fever dream.
Bob, I got a lot to say about Bob Backlund when we get there, but
do you? Well, he don't want to hear it unless you can name every fucking president in order. So get to cracking, Kyle.
Is he still running for president? Wasn't that a thing he was doing?
I don't know if that was a real thing.
No, it was on my TV, so I think it was happening.
Yeah, but like, what do you mean it was on your, like, what you watching? YouTube TV? Was it on Hulu?
It was on the old Peacock gimmick. The Monday Night Raw, like in 95, 96. He was out in the crowd campaigning.
That's not real.
What?
Sorry.
The next thing you're going to tell me there was no real electricity in that cage match. I mean, come
on.
Well,
I mean, you would think somebody on the TNA booking committee lived through that WCW Halloween Havoc where they electrified Abdullah the Butcher.
Was that an homage to Abdullah?
I don't know. Or you watch like the WWF back in the 90s and clearly could tell that the Mounties shock stick, they really just played an electricity sound every time he used it.
Okay.
Really...
We're not going to have Mountie slander.
Oh, fuck that guy. Jacques Rougeau can eat a bag of shit. How do you like them apples?
I hate those apples. I'm not a big fan of those apples.
Fucking asshole. Jerk off.
What the fuck did Mountie do to you?
He was supposed to do the podcast and he fucking ghosted me. He agreed to it. He agreed to a fucking time and a date, and then he fucking didn't show up. Him, Charlie Haas, and Ken Patera can all fucking get in the La Bamba plane. How do you like them apples?
Well, that's not where somebody would want to be. Fair enough, man. Fair enough. The Mountie. You know what they say about the Mountie?
Yeah. He's not
He always cancels on podcasts. But let's get to the show. Shall we? Little lockdown ski. Got a couple cocksuckers out here.
Whoa, really?
Whoa. I hear there's a lot
Sanjay Dutt looks funny with hair. I'm just going to say that.
Well, that's... How dare you? Yeah, he never really had like a luscious... It was always like, you should be bald, Sanjay, I think.
It wasn't a good... It almost looked like... It almost looked like Lego hair, or like those little people, and someone just painted on like a little hair.
The little people?
You don't know about the little people, the little figures?
No.
Not midgets,
what?
no. Like there's a toy company, and the figures are called Little People.
I see. So not Funko Pops?
No, not a Funko. This is pre-Funko Pop, but then the Little People are coming back again.
They're allowing them in the streets again. That's good to hear.
They're coming back.
Speaking of little people, we got the X Division title on the line. It's an X-Scape match.
How do you feel about that?
I don't mind it, I guess. I mean, it's a five-person elimination match, but when it gets down to 2 people, you got to X-Scape. I think it's fine. I mean, okay. X Division, it's kind of high flying. Let's skedaddle out of the... I don't know. Do you a fan
of the match?
I guess maybe the concept of the match.
No, I thought it was fucking dumb.
How dare you?
The way it fucking okay, we get down to the final 2, and then there's like 2 moves, and then they both climb out. Like,
well, it's the Earth. They want to win the match. They want to win the X Division championship. Look,
I get it. I want to win the X Division championship too. I think I'm too big.
Here you. Well, Matthew, I don't know if you've heard.
Oh, easy with the government name.
It's not about weight limits.
What's it about?
about no limits.
No limits.
That was a real tagline they used.
They could not have been more excited to put over the fact that Kevin Nash was at a Cardinals game during his intro. Wasn't on the rest of the show, but
there were a lot of Panda Bears out here wearing the card because they're in St. Louis. First of all, which is big deal because they didn't really stray from the impact zone a lot. So it felt like a pay-per-view to me. I loved the atmosphere of the show, at least in comparison to that Orlando
loved the pyro during the intro where you couldn't hear anything Don West or Mike Tenay were saying. The pyro is so fucking loud.
It was
we're coming from I was like, what the fuck, guys?
It's like they had the microphone right up to it. Hey, let's make sure we get this. Make sure we let them know it's an explosive event. You looking for fireworks behind you?
No, I think I scared the cat while she was going to the bathroom.
Did she shit herself?
Well,
Did she make a duty on the carpet?
I was making sure she didn't.
Do they ever do that, by the way? Do they ever just shit on the floor?
No. No, but I feel like sometimes she'll get startled and then she'll run and maybe she'll drop a little nugget.
It happens to all of us, But speaking of nuggets. By the way, people in this match, we got the champion, Chris Sabin, defending against Jay Lethal, Alex Shelley, Shark Boy, and hair-ridden Sanjay Dutt. Also a little fun fact ski. This is the pay-per-view debut of Black Machismo. Old Jay Lethal out here in the Macho Man getup doing the ooh yeah. What'd you think of that persona of Mr. Lethal?
I thought he did a great job with the voice and the mannerisms. The hair was a little rough. I don't know what was going on with that.
Yeah, I guess what else would you do to resemble the Macho? I guess you could just keep it in the cornrows, right?
Sure,
shave
why
it
not?
maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's like Macho with a little bit of flair.
No, it's just Macho Man. There's no Ric Flair involved, but
no Flair like he's working at Fridays.
Oh, what?
Does the Shark Boy do anything for you?
You mean the man from the deep blue sea?
I mean, where else? Come on, where else would he be from? Kyle, don't be ridiculous.
He's a cult favorite, Matt. I don't know if you could tell. Commentary, I don't know if they mentioned it 12 times, but he's a cult favorite among the TNA faithful.
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of blocked out Don West and Mike Tenay.
You don't like this commentary duo?
I don't know.
They're passionate.
And what was Don West wearing?
I believe it was like a silk black button-up with a white collar and a white tie, which is a bit of a suspect choice.
And he didn't say be dialing once, and I was upset about that.
I'm sorry. Do you want your money back?
I do. Once, Kyle, in the early days of the Shining Wizards Wrestling podcast, I bet on the Don West deal of the day, where they were selling you could buy through the website. I think you got 4 DVDs, 2 T-shirts, and an action figure for $35. And I bought 3 of them because we were gonna do. I bought 3 of them because I was giving them to all the wizards for Christmas. But they sent me 3 of the exact same things. Every set was the same. It was the same. And in the description, it was if you order more than 1, you'll get different everything. So then I reached out to them and told them that, and then they sent me another 3 things. They were different, but again, they were all the same. Right? So then I reached out again. I was like, you guys are killing me here. I'm like, I just need 3. I ordered 3 with the idea that I would get 12 DVDs, 12 separate DVDs, 6 different T-shirts, 3 different figures that I could give to my friends for gifts. Finally, they did. But at that point, I had a TNA collection to die for.
They have 50 of each.
They never asked me to send anything back. They never responded. I sent an email and they just
out of there.
Oh yeah, they were dying to get it out of there. But I was like, the fuck, Don West, man? Don't tell me I'm gonna get something different. And then I ordered 3, and you send me 3 of the same things.
It's a wacky deal. It's a crazy deal.
Took years for me to get rid of all that shit.
You got rid of it? You didn't hold on to those bad boys?
No, I think I was like put them in giveaways, and if you signed up for the Wizards Patreon, you got free stuff. How many fucking best of TNA knockouts DVDs do I need?
Dude, they got
answer
best
is
of
zero.
anything.
0 is the answer, Kyle.
Best of Alex Shelley tag team. They would literally just do anything. And, but I don't know. Maybe this is a best of match. Who knows? But, Shark Boy, you asked me about the Shark Boy. Look.
How do you feel about him?
I'm very indifferent. I'm aggressively indifferent on the Shark Boy. This match felt like a tag team match with a shark just swimming in the background to me.
I was like, okay, like 2024 watching this, I was like, oh, X Division, like all 5 guys are in at once, right? But they're not. They're like, it's like tag style. But then like we're seeing the beginning. I really enjoyed this match too.
Yeah.
But then you're seeing like the beginning of the Motor City Machine Guns because they're not tagging yet.
Right.
But they're teaming, they're fighting together instead of against each other. But I thought all 5 guys were going to be in there at once, and it wasn't. It was like, oh, we're going to take out, Saban's going to take out the Shark Boy, and then someone else is going to come in, and I was like, well, they should have just made it like a gauntlet match where you just send a guy out after an elimination, because that kind of seems like the way it went.
Yeah, no, I agree. It is one of those things where it's like, I get why they tag in and out, because if not, if you just have everybody in the match at once, it probably just becomes a clusterfuck. But at the same time, it's a cage match. Why are we tagging in and out? Are there rules? Are there not rules? But I don't know, man. Shark Boy gets shit canned like pretty much right away. He tags in, does like a pretty slick looking sunset flip, Tower of Doom deal with his fin and everything. And but he gets I think the machine guns, they do like a double leg drop. They both get on the same turnbuckle and they like lock hands and do like a splash leg drop onto him. Yes. And
it's a Rob Van Dam Sabu thing.
But yeah, you brought up the machine guns. Oh, go ahead.
Hey, let me ask you this. Do you think Shark Boy is the son of the shark?
You know, I think this has come up before.
Why was John Tenta dead at this point? He was. He died in 2006.
I'm curious as to what like the age difference was, because John Tenta, I don't think he was that old when he died.
He wasn't. He was 42 when he died.
And Shark Boy's probably like 25 at this point, at least.
Not right? The Adventures of Shark Boy and Lava Girl. Stupid.
That was the whole thing. There was a lawsuit between them, and that had to get settled or something. I don't know.
Really? Shark Boy's 49 today, so let's do math here.
It's 20 years ago, so he was 29.
20
or no,
ago.
it was
20 years ago. Kyle,
I forgot what year we're in.
16 years ago, 17 years ago. So Shark Boy's like 32.
Yeah, 32, 45. How old did you say Shark was?
42.
So yeah. So
yes,
I don't
but John Tenta was I bet you he was a big kid. Right, so I bet you maybe the older ladies thought John Tenta was like a young man when he was 13. Maybe he could have passed for 18. Maybe he put a seed in somebody, and that's how we got Shark Boy.
Well, sharks also, don't they lay eggs?
Oh, that's a great question.
We gotta make sure we got this tight, because we don't want to be spreading the misinformation.
Do sharks? Nope. It's number 2. Number 1, do sharks have bones? Number 2, do sharks lay eggs? Do sharks sleep? Do sharks have tongues? Interesting. No, not bones. Stupid.
Yeah.
Do sharks have, what do we ask? Eggs. Do sharks lay eggs?
Let the people know.
Do they lay eggs or give birth?
Or do they
Some lay eggs, but most give birth to live young.
So they just bust shark nuts into each other and...
Yeah, some sharks. Check this out, Kyle. The frilled shark is pregnant for more than 3 years.
Whoo-hoo! Yikes! Wrap it up, frill sharks. Jesus Christ, it's not worth it. But
I mean, for you, it's not. For you, it's worth it. For the lady shark,
yeah,
no,
that's a good point.
Lady Shark, do 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 do. Lady Shark, do 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 do.
It gives a whole new meaning to that song.
I think it's Baby Shark though.
It is.
And it's Shark Boy. Shark Boy wants a baby. Shark Baby.
But Shark Boy, it is a baby. He's
gone.
He doesn't give birth. Whatever the opposite of give birth, because he's removed. He's aborted from this match.
He's been aborted.
He got there. He's been aborted. Which leads us to just Sabin, Shelley. It's essentially Sabin and Shelley versus Lethal and Dutt. And you brought up machine guns earlier. Yes, this is the first time that they ever like pseudo team together. And it's crazy how immediately they have chemistry. Like the double teams they're doing, like the tandem kicks, and like one guy has a Moodle lock on one guy, and then the other guy comes with a drop kick. Like the tandem offense between these guys is crazy. How right away that they were so in sync with each other. And I have to think that this match was the spark that made them team together full time, which is very interesting.
Yeah, I had to look it up during the match because I was like, they're not in the same gear. And they are, but they're working together like really, really well. So I think this is the first sign of them working as a tag team, according to their Wikipedia.
Yes, indeed it is. Indeed it is. But Chris Sabin eventually hits Sanjay Dutt with the cradle shock to eliminate him. And then Lethal's back in there, hits the lethal combination, and then the Macho Man elbow to Alex Shelley to take him out. So now we're just down to Chris Sabin and Jay Lethal, and immediately they race, because now it's one-on-one, so now you win by escaping the cage. And so they immediately run to the door. I don't know, man. I liked it. I thought it gave a good sense of urgency. It was like, we need to win this match. Let's sprint to the why bother lollygagging, doing some chin locks in the ring, you know?
I guess. I don't know. When they both were perched atop the cage, I was like, this does not seem safe at all.
No.
It was a creative finish, though, where he kicked his leg through and he got hung up in the cage.
That was very fun because they were both on the outside scaling towards the floor. And then, like you said, Sabin like leg kicks Lethal and sends his leg through the rungs and traps him, which allows Sabin to make the cheeky escape and retain his title. So fun finish, fun match. It was pretty much the birth of the machine gun. So, and a little shark interlude. So who could be mad at this?
That's fair. You know what I can be mad at? The fact that I didn't have enough time to watch the lead up to this. So I don't understand the next segment where there's Team Cage and they all seem to be on the same page. And then they're like, oh, here's this retard Abyss. He's a retard. And I'm like, wait, why does everybody hate Abyss? And then James Mitchell has a cell phone or something. I don't know what's going on. He controls them. So a dog whistle.
Kinda.
And I'm like, is that Tomko? Tomko had a career in TNA.
Tomko's here. He's bald.
Oh my God, so bald, and she's so mad he takes his shirt off.
Don't you when you get mad?
No, I usually throw something.
You should maybe start channeling it into ripping your shirts. Instead,
he didn't rip it though. He just took it off. It wasn't cool. He just took his shirt off. It wasn't like a man.
Right.
You know.
Nice belly button on that Tomko. But you're so Abyss. So that's a whole thing. So Abyss and his manager, James Mitchell. So Mitchell had been, Abyss was essentially his pet. He was doing whatever Mitchell told him to. He was very restricted. Abyss was, and Sting came along and was like, Abyss, you're your own man. You don't need this James Mitchell. You have your own thoughts and feelings. Be your own man, Chris. Right. He would call him by his real name. Oh. And then they had some matches back and forth, and then Abyss kind of started to see the light. But then James Mitchell, when he sees that Abyss is starting to have his own thoughts, he's starting to see that Abyss maybe doesn't need James Mitchell anymore. Uh-oh. Mitchell goes and finds Abyss's mom. Oh, I know, right? Right? Puts her on a pole. No.
Excuse me?
No, that didn't happen. Not yet,
I don't,
at least.
Look, I don't know, because we're going to get to this match where they're chanting about Vince Russo, so I don't know if he's even there.
Oh, he's there. He's there for sure. It's very evident. But so the lore here is that when Abyss was a child, his dad shot his mom in the back and put her in a coma.
Whoa.
Or wait, did Abyss?
That seems heavy.
No, yes. That's right. The dad. No. I'm sorry. The mom shot the dad in the back.
Okay.
And then Abyss, the son, took the fall for his mom.
Whoa.
So he basically, jumped on the grenade for her and took the bullet, but not literally, but now James Mitchell knows this, and he's threatening to call the authorities to let them know that it wasn't Abyss that shot the dad. It was the mom that shot the dad, which would send the mom to prison. Abyss doesn't want that because Abyss loves his mommy. And I guess James Mitchell saying that on national television isn't enough proof. So he has his little flip phone out. He's threatening to call the police. And now that's why Abyss is essentially being blackmailed to fight for James Mitchell. And yeah, that's where we're at.
All right. That's some pretty intense shit there.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot. I again, I wish I'd watched it. Because also, right? Because then Christian Cage and his crew are also yucking it up about Double J being with Team Angle.
Yeah, so Double J, he was the ultimate heel in TNA. He was like the Reign of Terror, the Triple H. He was the guy in TNA. And then Jeff Jarrett lost the title at Bound for Glory in October. This is like 5 or 6 months before this. Then Jarrett left, hasn't been seen for a while. All of a sudden, Kurt Angle needs a fifth member of his team. So he calls up old Double J and comes in, and then he interrupts a match. They do the whole gimmick on Impact where they're fighting to see who gets the numbers advantage in this War Game style match. And Jarrett interferes, costing, he basically gives the win to Kurt Angle. But then Jim Cornette, the authority figure, is like, well, we're going to reverse the decision. We had interference. We're going to. So now Team Cage has the advantage. So that's why Team Cage is yucking it up due to a referees or after the fact reversal of the decision, which
crazy town, crazy.
A lot of webs.
Oh my god! So and then the it leads right into this slave angle. Come on, Canadian slaves. What are we doing here, people?
Were Canadians ever slaves? I don't think so. I think that's safe ground.
Not at Lockdown 2007, bro.
Well,
look, and you can't blame Eric Young because Miss Brooks had them hitters out.
Oh man, her milkers were fighting to get out of her dress,
bro. Like, I'm surprised it took that many segments for Eric Young to finally sign the contract.
Yeah, so it's just to lay the foundation here.
Please.
So Robert Roode is he's the CEO of Rude Inc., which is just him and Tracy.
Well, someone's got to, you never know. You can't have somebody come in and usurp your role if you don't claim to be the CEO.
Hate usurping. So Rude sees how popular Eric Young is getting because Eric's like he's kind of a comedic guy, but he's very lovable. The crowd loves him. They chant for him. And Rude's like, you're popular. I want you a part of my bubble, so then I'll become popular. So Rude sought to bring in Eric into the fold, and he did this by using Tracy to basically lure Eric Young in with her hitters, and was like, hey, let's make some coitus, and then we can sign the contract, and then you can be a part of our thing. But I'll let you inseminate me to do so. Wow. But then...
You think she would let him inseminate her? You don't think he used protection?
I don't think Eric Young knows what protection is, so I think he would just go in all raw dog ski.
Oh, not that new raw dog thing, right? That's a thing now. Do you know that?
The airplanes with no headphones? Yeah.
No headphones, no watching TV. You just stare at the screen. What's wrong with people?
That's psychotic.
That's psychotic. Why does it have to have a name?
They stink.
People stink. Not as much as fucking Eric Young stinks for signing that contract, you dummy.
Because he signed it before the coitus, precoital signing. Yep. And then Tracy was like, all right.
Premature ejaculation.
And no ejaculation at all, even, because Tracy was like, all right, close your eyes. Let me get my big fat pussy out for you to have sex with. And then Tracy leaves. Eric Young's eyes are still closed. And now Eric's part of the deal here. And,
Blue cane.
Yeah.
Blue cane. She was not
Blue
very
cane?
nice. Blue balls, blue cane, whatever. She wasn't very nice about it either. She was very mean. She was like, I would never with somebody like you. Like, very hurtful.
You know, some people would pay a good price for that, though.
Yeah, but Eric Young didn't want it. Eric Young was kind of, you know, he was a little hesitant to begin with, but she put it on strong, and then he caught feelings, and now he's got to clean Bobby Roode's car and pick up the dog poop and wash the floors, do all this other mean slave work.
What else?
Canadian slave work.
Canadian slaves.
Oh, my God, yeah. Poutine. Get the poutine.
Poutine.
Out. Yeah, clean up the poutine.
Yeah,
and all the
fire
maple
up the
syrup.
poutine gin. Yeah.
But he's got a friend. Oh, and he has a friend. He keeps saying he's going to text his friend, but nobody thinks he has a friend. They think he's making it up because he's a crazy person. But who's he texting? Who's he texting, Kyle?
Well, he's texted his old Canadian buddy, Petey Williams, the Canadian Destroyer. So I don't know if you're familiar with the Team Canada lore, but Team Canada was comprised of these three gentlemen. So they were all in a faction at one point.
Wasn't Elex Skipper part of that too?
I believe that was just WCW. So there's a WCW Team Canada, and then there's a TNA Team Canada.
Team Canada.
It's Elex Skipper. Elex is the mentally handicapped man from Special K, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Who were the members? Oh, there's a lot of members.
Well, is it? Are we looking at just TNA?
Yeah.
Right. So Johnny Devine, A1.
Okay.
Bobby Roode, Eric Young, Petey Williams, Scott D'Amore. He was the head honcho there.
Yeah. Apparently Teddy Hart.
Oh. I guess, yeah.
What else? Tyson Dukes.
Oh, yeah. Very short-lived. Very short-lived.
I don't know who Ruffy Silverstein is.
I think I've seen him in a chat room at some point. Oh, that was different.
Yeah, Ruffy.
Different Jew. So no Ruffy Silverstein. What was his name?
Ruffy Silverstein.
Feinstein?
No. Wrong. Nope, we're not going there.
I'll pretend this is 18. So we got Robert Roode.
Ruffy.
Well, we're going to do a deep dive on Ruffy Silverstein.
Sorry. I was actually going to.
Hold on. No. Let's everybody's been asking me. They've been sending me letters and emails. Kyle, when are you going to do a deep dive on Ruffy Silverstein? Well, I guess now's the time.
It's not very deep. He had a couple matches in TNA. He had a dark match against Scott Steiner in the WWE and then lost to the Highlanders. And that's it for Ruffy.
You know what? You know what's fun? There are two Ruffy Silversteins. One's Canadian, one's American. The Americans seem to have a more substantial career. I mean, his pictures. He was born in 1914.
Oh yeah, look at that, amateur wrestler.
A little bit of professional wrestling. He
Ralph
was the first to blaze the transitional trail from collegiate to professional wrestling. Well, that's fun.
He is a two-time AWA world champion, Chicago version, whatever that means.
Nobody gives a shit about Minnesota or AWA or Vern Gagne. They can all eat a bag of dicks.
You hear that, HK? Eat a shit.
Oh, yeah? So, well,
well that's it.
There's zero rough Silversteins in this match, unfortunately.
But there's 3 Canadians in the next match and 2 hitters and a hockey stick.
What more could you ask for?
And Earl Hebner. Come on.
Oh, come on. I mean, who better to kind of, get these guys straight, lay down the law.
Here's what bothered me about this match.
Okay.
You could have put a fucking Mack truck through this cage. The fucking holes in the cage are so big, and they acted like the hockey stick was like the forever equalizer.
Fucking Earl. So was it? It's a whole thing. Like Tracy tries to give Rude the hockey stick, but then Eric's like, no, you can't do that. And then Petey asks for it, and Eric Young's like, all right, here you go. Yeah. But then Earl Hebner grabs the hockey stick, and it's like, why is this the line? Like, we're in a fucking steel cage? Like, are there rules now? Is that why we're not using the cage as a weapon? Is because it's against the rules?
I guess. I don't know. I really don't know. And fucking, he made him sit in a chair.
Ugh.
Then Miss Brooks had to watch him.
you think
awful?
Did Tracy ever use this pencil that she has?
Your guess is good. I don't know. I've never seen this shit.
Well, I mean, she has like the schoolgirl, school teacher kind of aesthetic going on. I don't know. I mean, I guess she's the CEO. No, no, there's a name for it. What is it? It's like the chief
executive officer.
No, but they have it's like the chief executive offender or something, because she has big old hitters and they're all flopping everywhere. I don't know. It's the whole thing.
Miss Brooks also Canadian.
Come on now. I mean, oh Canada. Am I right or am I wrong, everybody?
You're right. You know she was in Playboy?
I believe it.
Check that out here.
Is she still dating CM Punk at this point?
I don't know.
Let's get on the Google ski. Let's get the old wiki out. Get her dating history up.
I don't know. It doesn't say.
Tracy Brooks, CM Punk. Let's just see when that was. What are some CM Punk cheating stories? Is the first thing that pops up.
All right.
Yeah, that's a lot to weed through. That might need to be a whole separate podcast in itself, to be honest.
Yes. Doesn't say what she was.
What she was? I think she's a lady.
No, she was just Miss Brooks. She didn't have like a fun name.
I think she's just Tracy Brooks here.
Yeah. Well, you said I thought she had like a title, like.
That was like her nickname, the CEO, the chief executive offender.
Yeah, well, it's not here on.
That might just be really deep cut lore that
Wikipedia.
You would only know if you were watching Impacts from 2007. So
I guess so. Well, anyway, fucking this match sucked a dick. So
how dare you? Yeah, it felt like the whole story here was Eric Young and Tracy Brooks on the outside, and there just happened to be a match happening on the inside. But I don't know, man. The match, it wasn't like a bad match. It was just very like secondary. I think the cage finally comes into a play a little bit. I think Bobby Roode rams Petey into the cage door. And then Tracy, like we mentioned, tries to hand Bobby the hockey stick, but Eric Young's like, no. And then Tracy starts yelling at him, and this is when her big old hitters start. I don't know how they stayed in. I don't know what kind of tape or gauze or bubble gum is used to keep those bad boys in there. But that happens, and then in the ring, there's some stuff happening. There's some wrestling, I think.
Yeah, and they hype up that Petey Williams is the Canadian Destroyer expert, but he doesn't hit it. It gets countered.
Well, he's trying to.
It gets countered, and he loses. And I was like, thank God, I'll never get this 10 minutes and 15 seconds back.
Well, before we gotta mention, Petey at some point asks for the hockey stick from Eric Young. Tracy tries to prevent it, but Eric just pie faces her and shoves her to the concrete floor and says, fuck you, toots. Here's the hockey stick. I'll show you a hockey stick, is what Eric Young says. And then hands the hockey stick to Petey. Petey hits Bobby with it, goes for the Canadian Destroyer. But Bobby, like you said, Robert Roode counters into an Alabama slam into the corner and then follows it up with the payoff, which is a fisherman suplex, and gets the win. And then Robert scolds Eric to the back.
Of course he does.
Another win for Robert Roode, Inc.
Yep,
folks.
Put a check mark next to that.
Thank God. Thank God.
Now, I got to ask you, Kyle, right? Because this next segment now, Rhino, he's mad. He's upset.
Yeah.
How does nobody know that Jim Cornette has flipped this? There's no memos. There's no... I mean, I know we're in the infancy of the internet here, but nobody went and told these guys?
Look, man, it's a wacky ship.
There was a fucking pre-show that they kept talking about during the pay-per-view.
Oh, they're not watching the pre-show. They're back there doing Hindu squats and doing massages and oiling each other up. They don't have time to be watching pre-shows and Mike Tenay and all that other bullshit.
Well, like they walked in and Rhino's sitting there, and then he yells at Kurt Angle, and he leaves, and he puts one piece of tape on his wrist. Like, am I supposed to believe it takes him 2.5 hours to tape up his fucking wrists?
Well, maybe he's got to do his, with the bands. He's got to do the curls. He's got to do some push-ups. It's a whole... Rhino's got a big, pregame ritual, I'm sure.
Does he? He's mad because he doesn't know. He's in the dark. Now he's upset because they lost their team advantage. Kurt Angle's like, well, Jim Cornette changed it, though. Don't be mad at me, fella.
Is that how we said it?
Yeah, and I'm like, does nobody fucking know?
Well, Kurt's there to let him know. He's trying to be a good team captain. So, a little foreshadowing here. The main event is going to be Team Kurt Angle versus Team Christian Cage. Team Kurt is comprised of Kurt Angle, Jeff Jarrett, Rhino, Samoa Joe, and Sting. And we can kind of just bundle this all up here. It's a constant thread throughout the show. In between the matches, we cut to Kurt going to each of his teammates and being like, look, you can trust Jeff Jarrett. I know he's been a slime ball in the past, but I wouldn't have called him up if I trusted him. So I just need you to settle down, take it easy. Joe's also pissed. Joe's probably even more pissed than Rhino is. He's got terrible mutton chops. And then Sting is like a little more. He's like, look, what's done is done, whatever. Jeff Jarrett, I saw him because the last match Jarrett was in was against Sting. And Sting was like, he seemed like a different man. So I'm a hold hope that you're telling the truth, Kurt, but we'll see. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. So that's the whole thing. Kurt's like, oh gosh, for Pete's sake, can anybody just trust me? And so, yeah. That's how we build.
Would you trust Kurt Angle? Would you trust Kurt Angle or would you trust Jeff Jarrett?
In 2007, probably more inclined to trust Double J. Kurt's all zooped up on who knows what at this point.
Jeff ain't no better.
Jeff is like, I'm surprised. I forgot that he came back briefly during this point because I think doesn't his wife die like next month or something? Because that's why he left initially, I believe. And then because I know he would come back eventually, but I didn't know he came back in 07.
Yeah, 07 is when Jill passed away.
It was in May, right?
He's got a big Wikipedia hole, please.
Because I'm pretty sure I think the story is that it was like the same day as Owen's death. But on a different year.
That is. It's a good callback.
Yeah,
it was. All right, it was May, so it was after this.
So, but this is like April, I think. So It's like right after this. So I'm surprised he's even here at all. But yeah, so we'll see if he's a new man in the main event. We'll see if we can trust old Double J here, Double J ski.
I just want to sing fucking With My Baby tonight.
Speaking of some babies tonight, we got couple more hitters here. We got Jackie Moore versus Gail Kim in a steel cage match.
Steel cage. This is also, and I wasn't aware of this until they showed the video package. I guess this has some correlation to the Chris Harris James Storm feud.
It certainly does. You're so astute. You're you just absorb this stuff and you just,
I'd like to think I do my due diligence before I come on your show.
You do diligence. So we got Jackie Moore, Gail Kim. Like you said, this all stems from the Chris Harris and James Storm feud. How familiar are you with the team America's Most Wanted?
I know about them.
James Storm, Chris Harris. So like the first couple of years in TNA, they were like one of the top acts in the entire company. They were huge. The tag team division was hitting. There's some really good stuff there in the early years. But eventually James Storm turned on his partner, Chris Harris, which we'll touch on more later. But Gail Kim was the valet of this team, and she took umbrage to James Storm smashing his partner with a beer bottle in the face. So she was pissed at James, and James is like, well, I'm gonna just find me a new broad. So he brings in Jackie Moore, aka Jacqueline, from the old WWF.
What they call her, the Queen of Tennessee?
The Pride of Tennessee.
Whatever.
Yeah. So we're here. In this era, it's a very rare women's match.
First ever cage match, they said.
Poof. History's being made here in St. Louis, Missouri. TNA Lockdown 2007. Jackie calls Gail a slut at some point leading up to this show, and that's why we're fighting. So
nice. You shouldn't do that.
You shouldn't do that. So very heated blood feud between these two gals. They get in the ring. They start wrestling. Well, before they get in the ring, this is they can't even make it to the ring. Because Gail comes out and then Jackie comes out and Gail storms the aisleway and attacks Jackie and they fight all over the ring. They're fighting into the commentator's laps, which
Mike Tenay loved that.
Oh, he was half chubbed at least.
A little handsy.
He was a little liquid, I think, after that.
Pre-Robert Irvine, so she was fair game.
Yep. So, I guess the rules to this match, in case you're interested.
Yeah, please tell me.
You can win this match by pin, submission, or escaping the cage.
Nope, wrong.
Yeah.
Pin, submission, or escaping.
This is not an X Division match.
Nope, this fucker said escape. Sorry.
Maybe he also says nuclear. You know, some people just don't know how to talk. Maybe it says espresso as well.
Right, well, I'm just saying.
Do you say these things? You say these things too, don't you?
I don't know what the fuck I sound like half the time, and I don't know what I say, so I have to listen back to know that I butcher the English language. This was dog shit.
Look, man, you can escape by leafing the door.
Leafing?
They just like had the door open. Leafing? You can leaf Cassidy out of the cage. And but that doesn't really come into play, so I guess it doesn't matter. But Gail wins the match by jumping off the top of the cage with a crossbody.
Yeah, well,
onto the Pride of Tennessee.
The way she was selling afterwards, it looked like she would have just been smarter to walk out the fucking door when she had the chance.
Look, it's not about winning the match. It's about sending a message. It's about pride. It's about letting your opponent know that you beat them. And it's just walking out the door willy-nilly, that doesn't accomplish the goal.
Jumping off the top rope, jumping off the top of the cage and hitting Jackie in her fucking forehead, which doesn't sound like much, but then you look at Jackie and you see that giant fucking forehead. Like, this match was just like, they just did not seem like they were on the same page at all. And like, that's a pretty fucking big spot, right? Like, to this point, nobody's jumped off the top of the cage on this Lockdown pay-per-view. And here comes Gail Kim, and she shoots over Jackie Moore.
Yeah.
She should have just walked out the fucking cage. Because it looked like it hurt her more than it hurt the Pride of Tennessee.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, it crushed her head, so I admire the effort.
Yeah, but it didn't crush it like good. Like, it wasn't like...
It wasn't Gallagher.
Yeah, it wasn't like a deflated volleyball. Just fucking knocked her down for the 3 count.
Well, it was enough to get the 1, 2, 3, and sometimes that's all it really takes. You know,
like, if I want to see a crushed head, I'll go to rotten.com, not watch fucking Gail Kim and Jackie Moore.
I think Gail kind of shined in this match. Like, maybe I'm just saying that because there haven't been a lot of good women's wrestling segments up until this point in TNA. So it was kind of a breath of, it was at least something different. And I guess I know what's to come with the women's division. Like, Gail Kim would be the forefront of that with her matches with Awesome Kong and stuff. So it was cool to see like some early stages of it. But yeah, the match itself was a little rough, but it was a fun little finish. It was, jumping off the cage. It's exciting. It gets the cockles turgid. So I thought it was fine,
Was it fine?
It happened.
All right.
I mean, that's for sure.
You know what else happened? Fucking
else
Bob
happened?
Backlund in TNA in 2007 was the thing.
Hey, you plebeian.
I didn't know this thing existed at all.
You want to know another fun fact? I'm just full of them.
Fuck yes, please.
I'm fucking full of this, because I watched this live. This was my introduction to Bob Backlund. This is the first ever I had ever seen of Bob Backlund was in TNA in 07. So this is who Bob Backlund is.
Wow, so not former WWF champion.
Brother, because I've gone back.
Hit me with a brother. Look out.
Brother, I've seen his, his later WWF run when he was, won the title from Bret Hart and all that shit. And like, I said, look, I know it's a different time, but I just can't picture a time where Bob Backlund was the dude. Like, I just don't get him at all. Are you Bob Backlund guy?
Am I a Bob Backlund guy? I guess so. I don't dislike Bob Backlund. Like, when Bob Backlund shows up in 1992 in the WWF, my father's like, he used to be a world champion. And I was like, shut up. He's not. He's the fucking most boring, plain, white bread dude ever. Fucking happy, go lucky. But then he loses his mind, and he's putting everybody in a cross-faced chicken wing. Like, that was awesome, and I enjoyed his feud with Bret Hart. Didn't really understand why he managed the Sultan at one point. That was weird, but he was fun.
Was he?
Yeah, I mean, he was fun, and I got a kick out of him. He's a fucking maniac, and he runs around the ring just as much as these two guys.
Dude, this combination, everything involved in this next match is fucking insane. We got two of the biggest assholes in wrestling, Low Key and Austin Aries, facing each other with Bob Backlund as a special guest referee. I mean, we're just throwing anything at the wall and seeing what happens, but it was, Senshi versus Austin Starr is what we got here. These guys have been feuding for several months at this point. They've had a few pay-per-view matches. And I always kind of say the same thing, but it's still kind of true. I feel like if this match happened in like Ring of Honor, it would be like an epic main event level match. But here it's just like we got Austin and his stupid earrings, his stupid Black Machismo hair, and we got Senshi. Bob Backlund's the ref. He's got a bow tie on. I don't know. What'd you make of this?
The match?
Or just whatever,
I mean, I'm one of those sickos, so.
Are you?
No, I'm not. But I was fucking tickled, man, to see fucking Bob Backlund as the special guest referee for this. Low key, in anything outside of Ring of Honor just doesn't seem right. Like he was in WWE for a hot second, right? And now Senshi, like, just weird. Austin Aries, the person, is a kind of a shitbird, but in the ring, I don't mind him so much. I did not like the ending to this match, but I like the story they tried to tell with Backlund enforcing the rules and checking. Like, I think it's a lost art. The referee checking the knee pads, the feet, the arms, looking up his sleeve. Like, I got a fucking kick out of that. And dude, Bob Backlund, he was moving around the ring faster than these two guys were. It was fun. Look, I had fun with this one.
Those steps, the Harvard step test, all those Hindu squats and the step ups he's doing. I mean, it comes into play here. His conditioning is next level, even in those slacks that he was wearing. So it was very impressive.
Yeah, he's a true professional.
And he was laying down the law. There was one point where Aries hits Senshi with a running drop kick in the corner and then goes for the pin with his feet on the ropes. And then Bob Backlund's like, "Oh, listen, son," or however he talks. And then he like gets his foot off the ropes. Aries and Backlund have had a very heated feud for the past few months. So Aries is pissed that he's even here. And there's a lot of tension between the two.
The irony, because fucking he inadvertently blocks Senshi.
Well, it's just how the tables have turned, how the turns have tabled, Because, to your point, Senshi at one point goes for his double stomp off the top rope. But Aries or Star grabs Bob Backlund, sends him into the corner, crotches Senshi, sends him to the mat. Austin Aries hits the 450 for a 2 count. So that was a close. I bid on that one. I thought that might be it. But then Austin gets his 2 count. He's like, "Bob, it's because you're counting slow." Yada, yada, yada. Shoves him. Bob shoves him back. Austin Aries topples backwards into the arms of Senshi, who rolls him up for the 1, 2, 3. So Senshi wins. Bob Backlund screws Austin Starr again. And so that happened.
Do we ever get a Bob Backlund Austin Starr match?
Well, you're just going to have to stay tuned, buddy. You're just going to have to hit subscribe, hit that bell notification, and see. There you go. There you go. No, I don't know. I feel like they got to at some point.
God damn it.
Would you be interested?
Kind of.
In seeing that? He could probably still go, Bob, as good as he ever could. What did Bob Backlund ever do athletically? So, I don't know, man.
Let's see. When was his last match, according to Cage Match?
Oh, brother, he's probably still going.
2018. He was in Japan.
Did he wrestle Tanahashi or some shit?
It was him, Hiro Saito, and Yoshiaki Fujiwara against Masakatsu Funaki, Riki Chosu, and Tatsumi Fujinami.
You nailed those names, man. It's like you do a New Japan podcast or something.
Something like that. Let's see. Career. Let's see. Doing it 2007. Motherfucker.
What's up?
He wrestles twice in TNA in 2007.
Fuck yeah. Let's go. It was bound to happen, so... Big money match there.
I won't spoil the results, but he wrestles Alex Shelley, and he teams with Jerry Lynn to take on the Motor City Machine Guns.
Well, that's a match I just...
Fucking June and July are going to rock for you when you get to 2007.
I might just binge up until... I need to see that yesterday. That's hot. Spicy hot fire, as the kids say.
That is something else. All right, so I know we mentioned that we tied it all together before the vignettes in between. I feel like a lot of guys can say a lot of things in promos and you wouldn't be like, oh, that might really happen. But I think when Samoa Joe threatens to kill somebody...
He's so good.
That's kind of scary.
His fucking... He's just one of the most authentic talkers ever. To your point, whatever he could be, he's in TNA. We just saw Bob Backlund bumbling around in there. We're in this goofy atmosphere, but he lets the intensity shine through the screen, even with his stupid mutton chops. It was some good shit from Joe. Yelling at Kurt Angle. Yo.
Mutton chops were in at the time, man.
Were they?
I don't fuck. 2007 is a fucking blur to me, dude.
Yeah.
I'm sure all these guys were listening to fucking Crazy Town's Butterfly in the back before their matches. Like, they were fucking ready for this. I was not ready for this next gimmick inside
close
of
your
a gimmick.
eyes so you don't have to watch it.
Like a fucking Russian nesting doll of wrestling matches. A gimmick inside of a gimmick inside of a fucking shit sandwich.
So it's funny because it makes the gimmick makes sense in the story they're trying to tell, but the execution just doesn't lend itself to an entertaining wrestling match.
No, it was so fucking bad.
We got a blindfold match between James Storm and Chris Harris, former AMW, a team ripped apart because, like we mentioned earlier, James Storm smashed Chris Harris in the eye. With a beer bottle.
Right in the eyeball.
So he's only got 35% vision in his right eyeball.
I wish I had
got an eye patch.
No vision for this match.
You could have put on a hood just like them and really just immersed yourself in it.
Well, me and you have different hoods around our house, buddy.
Yeah. You and fucking I don't know about that.
You and Brundo have the same hoods.
I don't know what you're talking about.
This was fucking... I wish I was fucking Stevie Wonder for this match.
So I have a lot of thoughts on this. Mainly the choice in vision impairment, because it's a blindfold match is what it's called, but it's not a blindfold. It's just a black pillowcase over each of their heads. Not because you can't tie it because they would fucking suffocate. So it's just a loose pillowcase over their heads. So if you take any kind of bump, it goes flying off, which it does several times in this match.
You would think there's somebody at TNA who was like, there's got to be an easier way to do this. Like, you couldn't have put a fucking ski mask on them with like some like built-in fucking real dark sunglasses so they could at least see. Like,
yeah. I mean, just take the thing they used and just like kind of wrap it up and just wrap it over their eyes, tie it behind. And dude, this drove me crazy. So the match, they're in opposite corners of the ring.
Right.
They're looking at each other. They get the hood. They put the hoods on.
Right. Then
they don't get spun around or anything. They're looking at each other. I need to emphasize. They're looking at each other. They put the black hood on, and then immediately they're lost.
Yep.
Where is he? I wonder where he is. I didn't just see him 1 second ago. They're like grabbing the ropes like they're fucking falling off the earth, like they're on a ski rink. Like, that was the pacing of this match. It was slow. Crawling, they get into the middle of the ring, they like just miss each other, And then they come back, they do it again, and they like kind of touch each other, but they both throw punches, and they both miss. I don't know. I mean,
It's
just
bad. Chris Harris grabs the referee, but then realizes the referee has pants on, so it's not James Storm.
he puts him at a full sharpshooter. He gets him locked in the thing before he realizes it's got those scrawny ass legs, slacks, shoes. Not James Storm.
Crowd fucking turned on this instantly too, which I fucking thought was the funniest thing ever. Like, look, there's not a lot of blindfold matches, right?
Thank God.
Someone had to be like, just watch the WrestleMania 7 Rick Martel, Jake Roberts blindfold match. Right? It's not. I think it's great, but probably for all the wrong reasons. But man, the people at WrestleMania are so fucking into it. With Jake pointing around the ring and people cheering when he gets close to Martel. There was none of that here. Like you said, it was let's look at each other and then let's put the bags. It's like the fucking internet thing where like you hold the fucking blanket up by the door, like your dog sees you and you drop it and you run away and your dog doesn't know where you went. It's like he's just in the just go in the next room, you dumb animal. This was so fucking dumb. The referee gets like he gets knocked out or he's not paying attention. Storm takes his hood off and he flips Chris Harris the bird, but he still has his hood on, so he can't fucking see him before he super kicks him.
Wait, so Storm puts his hood back on?
Storm took the hood off, right?
Yeah.
So he could see where Harris was, and then he gave Harris the double birds. But Harris can't see because he's got the hood on. What's the point?
Well, maybe he'll watch it after the fact and be like, "Oh, why I oughta."
No, none of these
those
people.
fingers.
They don't watch this stuff back. Otherwise, it would ruin all the storylines. If they watched this back, all the guys in the main event would have known it's not Kurt Angle's fault that Jim Cornette reversed his decision.
I guess. Yeah.
You have to let me know what happens at the Impact. I might have to watch the Impact after the show.
Hey man, it's worth it. You guys got the old membership, right?
Yeah, we signed up for the TNA Plus.
There you go.
That's you sent
all
me
those
the
impacts
YouTube.
are on there.
You sent me the YouTube video, but I just went on the app.
The app?
The app.
Had yourself a little appetizer?
Yeah, I wish I had gotten food poisoning after watching this.
I mean, there was, because, of course, in a blindfold match, the heel is eventually going to take the thing off, so he gets the advantage. And that's what we lead to, and that's what the finish is, like you mentioned. But it was just everybody's thing keeps falling off. They're like fighting on the top rope, too, which is like, I don't know if that's the best strategy if you're blindfolded. But they're on the top rope. I think Chris Harris throws out like a top rope cutter at some point. It's like, why are we going vertical here? I don't know.
I wouldn't have been mad if they both fell off the top rope and got hurt.
Well, that's very rude of you to say. They might get hurt if they do that.
Both of these guys each owe me 10 minutes of my life.
What would your strategy be if you were in a blindfold match with somebody?
I would 100% listen to the fans. I would use the Jake the Snake route. I would point.
Right.
And listen to the fans.
Or maybe just charge forward.
No.
When you get the blindfold put on. Because you know he's right there. So just
you can't,
before he can move.
You don't want to charge, though.
Why not?
Because what if he takes a step to the right and you knock yourself out? You've run into the turnbuckle or the cage.
Well, these are the risks you have to take.
I don't know about a business. I think I would move quickly, but I don't know if I would charge. Maybe stalk would be the right word.
Would you shuffle?
Yeah, maybe.
Big shuffler?
Like a Shane O'Mac style.
Right.
Shuffle my way over there. I'd shuck and jive over there to whoever my opponent was.
You stays shucking and jiving.
I think I would throw a lot of kicks. I'd just do a lot of kicks. Or do that whole Simpsons things where I'm just going to walk forward and do this. Just punch the air, and if you walk into it, so be it.
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe do a little tornado action.
Yeah.
Terry Funk, but with your arms.
Yes.
I gotta see. So now you're prepared. Now that you've watched this, you might have thought that was a waste of time, but now that you're just watching tape to prepare for that kind of situation.
Right.
If you go blind at some point,
that'd be terrible if I went blind.
Some say if you bust too many nuts, you go blind.
All right.
Right?
I don't know.
So
is that a thing?
Keep that in mind. I mean, I'm still seeing, so.
Okay, yeah. Who said
I don't think
that?
so.
What is this? It's not like Socrates or anything, is it?
Yeah, is there like a thing like...
What great philosopher?
If you masturbate too much, do you go blind?
No.
Losing your meds in a comments. Okay, so it's not. Let's see here. It's a myth. Never mind.
No shit. You think?
I've been rationing my sessions in fear of losing my sight, but now it's just.
Is that how you were raised? You'd go to the supermarket and like you'd see a blind guy and your mother be like, if you play with yourself too much, you're gonna end up like that guy.
Possibly.
She was like, give me back my fucking JCPenney catalogs. Good jerking off to the lingerie sections, you little creep.
I'm not that old, buddy. I wasn't masturbating to static paper.
All right, I don't know. I mean, you never know.
I had LimeWire growing up. Okay, bud?
All right.
JPEGs, at least.
Okay. I don't know what your internet speed was. I don't know if it was just easier to fucking grab a dusty JCPenney catalog and just, see a lady in a brassiere.
A hefty bosom, perhaps?
Yeah. And back in my day, it was you just hope you could find a nudie magazine in the woods because for some strange reason, that's where people hid them.
Did you just get in a circle in the woods and
pull
your
you
puds?
were like excited to find one, and then like you knew
clean
where
it up
was,
with leaves?
so you'd go back and take a peek, take a page out if you need to.
Do you think Christopher Daniels ever did that?
Maybe.
He's a fallen angel after all.
It's possible. A lot of woods in California.
Yeah, him and Jerry Lynn going at it in this next match. And so Christopher Daniels had been gone for a few months and came back with a alleged new gimmick, which I was kind of struggling to see like what the new, because now he has face paint a little bit. He has a little bit of face paint. He has some facial hair.
Like a half a moon.
Half moon. And that's pretty much the extent of it. I mean, it was kind of, the match was fine. Like the nuts and bolts to this match were fine, but it didn't really have a lot of heat to it. Like the story, like Christopher Daniels' new character is very vague and cryptic. Like we don't really understand what it is. And he doesn't really wrestle any differently. So it's like, is it a new character or are you just having a new makeup session? I don't know. But I don't know. I'm curious. Well, what did you think about this one?
It was a breath of fresh air after the blindfold match.
Yeah, that is true.
Like I just felt good knowing like, okay, next up is Daniels Lynn. Like there didn't seem to be much of a story to it, but I thought it was a fine mid-card match, and it cleansed the palate after the hoods falling off and flipping off people who can't see you flipping them off happened. So I was fine with it. There could have been much worse, so no complaints from me.
Yeah, no hoods in this match. Check out Brundo if you want more of that. But
yeah.
Christopher Daniels comes out in a hood. So that's something.
But not like it wasn't upsetting to see him in the hood. It's part of his new character.
Not a pointy hood, what you're saying.
Right.
That's good.
Right. So yeah, fine. The super flatliner, he misses the BME. Like it was a good back and forth match. I was happy with it.
Yeah, and they kind of made use of the cage by doing a lot of top rope. Like you said, the top rope flatliner, and there's a point where Lynn's going for a top rope cradle pile driver, but Daniels crotches him and hits the last rights for the win, or a crossroads for you people who don't know what his move is. So, this is a good back and forth match. Not a lot of story to it, but yeah, it was a breath of fresh air. The crowd did seem a little zapped, maybe from that previous blindfold match, but this was a good spot in the card for this match, I guess. To your point. Well, we got Jeremy Borash backstage with Team 3D, aka the Dudley Boys.
I hate the Dudley Boys.
Team 3D, actually. That's what they're
whatever. Call them whatever you want. I don't like them. I don't think they're a great tag team like everybody thinks they are.
They were 19-time champions at this point. They're going for number 20. How dare you? That's a lot of titles.
That's great. They were booked to win a lot of titles. Who gives a shit?
No. They got their WWE, the WCW, and the ECW titles with them.
Yeah, okay. I could buy replica titles too off of the fucking internet.
How dare you? You don't think those were valid? You don't think those were real?
I tell you, I held the original ECW tag title.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Who gave it to you?
The last person to ever hold it, Danny Doring.
Oh, look at that.
How you like them fucking apples, buddy?
Yeah, some tasty Granny Smith apples you're laying on me.
No, I don't like the Dudleys.
I
don't think they're a good tag team. They have like fucking Get the Tables, the What's Up, and the 3D. That's it.
I think they were good up until a certain point. Maybe like 01. And then everything after that. There's some good stuff after that. But they kind of, most of their career feels like they were leaning on their past accolades and not what they were doing in the moment, which is pretty much what this. So, man, this feud with LAX, boy, howdy. It's a tale. Let me tell you. So they've had a few matches in a row on pay-per-view. They had a Little Italy street fight on a pay-per-view.
All right.
And this was a reaction to LAX going to Bubba's uncle's restaurant and destroying his kitchen.
Oh, my God.
Mangul, fettuccine, is a pizza restaurant. You don't do that to an Italian. So they took umbrage to that and had a Little Italy street fight. Cheese graters came into play. The little Italian tables,
Like an idiot, I Googled who was booking TNA in 2007. And of course, fucking Vince Russo's name came up.
Well, it gets even better because after that, because the Dudleys lose that match to LAX.
Oh, is that how they lost the tag titles?
Well, no, the Dudleys have never been the NWA Tag Team Champions,
No,
Matthew. Are you not fucking paying attention? That's
yet.
what they're here for. By the way, I think those matches were non-title too, which is a whole other thing.
Eliminator matches before AEW. Interesting.
Then, on the Impacts after that, LAX then went to Johnny Rods' school, who trained Devon. They beat up Johnny Rods in his school. It was like a father figure to Devon. At least that's what Mike Tenay tells me.
The horror.
Then they had, in retaliation for that, they then went on to have a ghetto brawl street fight, which is Devon. Now it's a ghetto brawl.
Okay,
The Bubba.
I get it.
Bubba got attacked. You have an Italian street fight. Devon gets attacked. You got a ghetto brawl.
I get attacked. I hope I have a heart attack.
So now we have reached the climax. The climax here. Now the ball is in LAX's court.
Right.
Now we're gonna have a match that revolves around them. And when you think of Latinos, what do you think about? Electric fences, because we're gonna keep those undesirables out of our country.
That's right.
According to Bubba.
Put up a
according
wall.
to Bubba. That's a quote.
Okay. Doesn't surprise me. So whose idea was it for the electrified cage?
Jim Cornette, the director of authority of TNA.
Yeah, well, goddamn.
So that's what we're.
So
what we're
here's what I don't understand, right? Mm-hmm. The cage is supposed to be electrified.
It is electrified.
But at one
Didn't you
point
see the lights flicker?
in the beginning of the match, Hernandez gets on the cage to steady himself, and the cage doesn't zap him.
Don West cleared that up for everybody.
That
LAX.
was white noise. What? LAX what? What did LAX have? What do they have on? Fucking rubber shoes?
Yes, they had rubber boots on.
Fuck you, Don West, you shit.
And rubber gloves. They were prepared for this match. Rubber gloves, rubber shoes, so they could manipulate and then get on the cage if they had to. It's their specialty.
What the fuck?
Because they're Mexican, so they're familiar with hopping fences.
Also, like
Bubba said.
Like 4 matches earlier, they show like the fucking Spanish announcing team, and they're literally, it's like me and you looking at one computer. Like that's where they're like huddle. It's like fucking Hector Guerrero and fucking some other asshole. And they're like, yeah, we're being heard, and this is the Spanish announcing team. Like nothing like touting like people are in from all over the world. South African people are here for lockdown. And I'm like, why are you showing me this poor Spanish announcing team? Well, clearly it comes into play later.
Yeah, it was like one monitor at like knee level because they're like sitting and they're like hunched over. They're all like, They don't know what's going on.
When you saw LAX come out and you're like, who's going to be the enforcer to neutralize Conan? Spike Dudley,
Right.
Big Dick, Chubby, dances. Nope. No. Fucking Hector Guerrero. I was like, what the fuck, man?
Well, Hector doesn't like how LAX is kind of besmirching the name of the Latino nation.
Oh, of course.
We're not all like that, Hector says.
Right. And then Bubba brother Ray says, give me a fucking table.
Well, I
hate the fucking Dudley boys so much.
Dude, you know what drives me crazy actually about the Dudleys, or well, just Bubba? He's the only guy that I can think of that like leads his own chants. 3D, everybody, come on now. How about you just be entertaining and then we'll chant for you, asshole.
I won't chant for him.
And his stupid jeans. He's got like, I've talked about like, so they're wrestlers wrestle in jeans, right? Like it's a thing that happens, but for whatever reason, it just looks wrong on Bubba. They're like too clean, you know?
Right, like he should be like, yeah, there's like spaghetti stain on it or something.
Is it because he's Italian? That's pretty racist.
Well, I mean, we're fucking pulling all the race cards in this feud, so why not, like... Come on, fucking Eminem is... You know, he's got moss spaghetti, his knees are weak, his palms are sweaty. Electrified cages, this shit is heavy. Lockdown 2007, are you ready?
That was pretty hot, actually. Yeah, that was kind of good.
Yeah, good.
I wanted to hate it, but I don't.
And then, like, you could use, like, you know... Like, I envisioned that the buzzing sound when someone hit the cage was just, like, Scott D'Amore with a microphone yelling, like, buzz! It's fucking so stupid. So fucking dumb.
No, it's not. It was the electricity running through the cage.
You think so? They mic'd the cage like that, huh?
Look, it's a high production system we got going on here.
Oh, good.
So... let's talk. So it's an electrified steel cage match.
You don't
in case
say
you weren't aware.
It's very shocking.
They got the dark. It's like the dark lighting. So it's like the crowd's dark, but then there's like a cold light. Okay,
there's a cold light.
Like, you know, not like a warm light. Like a blue light, you know what I mean?
Right. It's like when I go to fucking Home Depot and I just want to buy a fucking set of regular light bulbs, and I buy these fucking ones that make me want to kill myself. I put them in, the room is fucking blue. Take these shits back. I need to fucking get these cold lights out of here. I need a bright light.
The way you said that felt a little racial somehow.
It was, yeah. Well, you know, all the fucking Mogwais, they don't want the bright light, they want the cold light. This shit sucked. This shit sucked.
No, maybe it doesn't. Let's recap. Let's set the scene here. So they got the cold light in the ring. It's a dark atmosphere, just to highlight the electricity running through the rungs of the cage. And
wait, hold on, Kyle. Let me ask you this question: was the cage always electric all night? Like, how did they electrocute it up?
You must have missed it when they had like it was like a big plug. That they plugged into the
No, they didn't, Kyle. You can't
yes, they
be
did.
fucking serious. How did I miss that?
They plugged it in.
There were weird spots during this, and I don't. So you sent the YouTube version. I didn't watch that. I watched it on TNA Plus. Where like in the middle of the match, the screen would go black, like there was a commercial break. But when you come back, like they didn't skip any action. So I don't know what that was.
So, and it's like that in the YouTube version too. I think it's because if you don't have like a certain tier membership, you have commercials on the app, and that's when they would play. At least at some point, that's what it was. But I think they just kept it how it is.
Well, fix that shit, TNA.
Yeah, get on it. That's probably their
so
priority is fixing these 07.
There's a giant like fucking 50-watt thing they need to plug in, like it's a food truck.
Yeah, it's like this wide, right? And they went.
Was it Brian Knobb's asshole? What?
It could have slid right in there.
Damn it! I'm gonna have to fucking watch this back now just for that.
I mean, I can look. So
I don't know how I missed it. Maybe I was getting a soda pop or something.
You're getting some Reese's Pieces in the back, and you Had too many plates spinning. I get it.
I don't know. The match was starting, and I was like, let me just grab whatever I need. All right, so they plug in. The cage is electrified.
Bzzz. I'm gonna see it. It's buzzing. Right. I'm not gonna find it. I'll let it buzz. But trust me, there's a plug.
There's a plug. All right, that makes sense.
There's a plug.
Well, you know what? I can. As ridiculous as that sounds, at least like they made an effort to show you like now there's electricity running through the cage.
Right. There's a little bit of effort.
How come they didn't get any? How come they didn't get a Von Erich to do that?
To do what?
Get the electrocution going.
Is that how one of them died?
The youngest one, the first one, yes.
Oh shit.
The one that wasn't a wrestler because he never made it to wrestling age.
He was like 3 years old. Yeah.
Yeah.
I get it. They should have, maybe.
Right?
They should have. That's a thought.
Fritz could have done it. He could have plugged that shit right in.
Yeah. He worked Fritz around at this point?
Yeah, he worked St. Louis at some point. I don't know. Was he alive at this point? Fritz Von Erich. When was he dead?
Get old, who's the one still alive? Kevin?
Oh, God. He's been dead for like fucking 10 years at this point.
Thank God.
Yeah,
Thank God.
Kevin's still alive.
Well, no Von Erichs here.
None.
But
all right.
Here's a thought. Let me throw this one at you. See if you come.
Yeah.
Should they have taken off the ropes for this match?
To give it like more of a sense of danger?
Yeah, like, because as it stands, you can whip each other into the ropes and do all the corner shit and not touch the cage. But if they have more sense of danger, I think it would give it.
Yeah, I think the whole
like a barbed wire match.
Whole idea of the pay-per-view was we're going to put the cage up once, we're not fucking taking it down.
Logistically is probably the reason they didn't do it, but
that would have been cool. I think that would have been a little cooler.
Right.
You know? I wouldn't have been mad at that.
Yeah, maybe next time.
Oh, please. Can when will there be the next electrified cage match?
Hopefully the Dudleys aren't in it, because I have a couple notes here on why the Dudleys are idiots here.
Give it to me.
So they get control in the beginning, right? Team 3D.
Yeah.
And one of them suplexes Homicide into the steel door. The one part that's not electrified, they suplex him into it.
Terrible move.
And then LAX, so like I mentioned, they're prepared. They have the rubber gloves, the rubber boots. The Dudleys just have T-shirts and finger tape.
19-time champions. You think they would have come prepared, though? Come on.
Look, maybe they haven't been in an electrified steel cage match before. This is LAX's specialty.
But you've been around the world and you've won championships everywhere. You should know.
That's a good point. Well, that's how you learn more from your losses than your wins.
I guess so. I also, I know it's 2007. And I know I say, a lot of awful shit when I do this show, when I do the Wizards. But, man, why they got to call it the border toss when Hernandez throws Diva? Come on.
Well, he's got the border toss and he's got the cracker jack as well.
I don't mind the cracker jack. Because you can hit a cracker jack on anyone. Border toss is a little...
But it's like a razor's edge. You throw them over the board. It's very on the nose. It's perfectly describes what the move is. You know?
I don't think
and he's a Mexican. It's not like
I understand.
Fucking it's not like Jerry Lynn's doing the border toss.
No, Jerry Lynn's too nice to do the border cross. I don't know. I'm do you think this guy really wants to be stereotyped?
Maybe.
I don't know. Couldn't you call it something else? The Hernandez toss? I don't fucking know.
The Hernandez toss.
He is Hernandez.
Egg on my face.
I didn't put a lot of fucking thought into this, man. It's just came to my brain. Don't fucking clearly me.
Maybe you should ask that mariachi band that was playing in front of your food truck what they would call it.
We don't talk about
Cucaracha. What was your...
I don't know what you're talking about, Kyle. Moving on. No, all right. So the Dudleys do a bunch of stupid shit that you don't like.
And there's one point where both LAX guys are crotched on the top rope on opposite sides of the ring. The Dudleys go up and they decide to superplex them into the middle of the ring when they could just take them on the top rope and throw them backwards into this electrified steel mesh would have made him do. But no, we're just going to do a wrestling move onto the mat, onto the canvas.
I mean, how is Scott D'Amore supposed to produce the show and make the buzz sound all the time?
Yeah. Is that why there was little to no use of the electrified cage? Is because Scott D'Amore's cardio wouldn't let him do all the buzzing?
I don't know, man. If you're going to do it, right? Like, to your point, like, take the ropes off. Like, if we're... Present to me that this is a real danger. If we're just going to have a regular wrestling match in a cage where nobody touches the fucking like, they didn't do any of the, like, you know, like, grab the head, we're going to put your head into the electrocute, like, I want to see that. Make me concerned for the well-being. What happens if he gets zapped in the head?
Yeah, because it's like, it's the whole setup, the whole build to this, and there were maybe like 2 or 3 spots where it came into play. One was the finish. What else happens? There's one point where Homicide's hand like kind of touches it and he goes, ah! But there's no like visual cue that he's gotten electrocuted. It's just him touching a thing and going, ah! But then actually, I'm sorry. I'm wrong. There is a visual cue. The lights flicker
yes.
in the impact zone.
Do you think the electrified cage match was what Tony Khan was trying to create with his exploding barbed wire match the first time he did it?
I'm gonna be honest, I had the same thought watching this. I was like, I wonder if this is gonna look better than the barbed wire exploding match, and it did not. It did not. As a low bar to meet, but this was definitely worse, I would say. Yeah, it was just.
I didn't feel great. I didn't feel great after this match, Kyle. I'm not gonna lie.
And the fun. So this is a whole shit show, right? And like Conan comes out, we kind of touched on this earlier, because he didn't come out with LAX, but he gets wheeled out like, I don't know, 10 minutes into this match. The guy that wheels him out, you know, clocks the referee that's ringside, steals the keys, steals his big rubber gloves that the referee has, unlocks the cage door, and this is when Hector Guerrero gets in there and prevents that, and then he takes a chair and runs Conan to the back. And then Bubba's like you mentioned, he's like, Hector, give me a fucking table. And then Hector grabs the table, throws it in the ring. And then the way the table got utilized was very interesting. So it was set up in the middle of the ring. Hernandez lays Devon on this table. And due to his rubber gloves and rubber boots and rubber knee pads and rubber jock strap, everything, right? He gets up on top of the cage. Big ol' Hernandez on top of the cage, flying splash off the top of the cage through the table. I think this is what Edge tried to do, but failed. Because this looked good. Hernandez, I mean, he committed. He went all balls out for the splash. But Devon gets out of the way, and Herney goes crashing through the table. Bubba picks Homicide up for a power bomb and decides to just drop him in the middle of the ring instead of, I don't know, throwing him against the electrified cage. Fucking asshole. We get a border toss from Hernandez to Devon. Border toss to Devon. That feels not good. Into the cage wall, and then Devon, the lights flicker and some goofy sound effects play, and the crowd's reaction to this match is probably my favorite part of it, because they were not having it. Because like when it was initially like they finally got people touching the cage, there was boos, there were Fire Russo chants, there were bullshit chants. The crowd was not happy. Match keeps going. What happens here? Yeah, Devon sends Homicide flying into the cage wall. And then I think the idea was that Homicide was going to fall off the top rope into a 3D, but there was some mistiming, so they reset it. They hit the 3D for the win. So all of this like half a year of build to have just a shitty, stupid gimmick match for the Dudleys to finally win the NWA titles for the first time. To get number 20, Matthew.
TNA.
Big moment for the Dudleys.
Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry. NWA TNA.
That's right. So, yeah. I don't know. Any other?
Nope.
Any other?
No, I'm done with this one.
My favorite, as if it could get any worse, the match ends They don't even fucking present them the titles. They just cut right to Kurt Angle and JB backstage. They don't give them I don't know if they have a plan for a special presentation on Impact.
Oh, you have to
but
wait
it's
and
literally they win and it's like 10 seconds later they're done. It's like, all right, enough of that. Which maybe I can't blame them.
I bet you they went over their time.
Probably because we got a
Bubba wanted to get his shit in.
Can't blame them. Can't blame them.
I do.
Well, we got a War Games ish style match on our way here, which is a very you're kind of locked into a time limit, I guess, with that type of match. So yeah, we're under a time crunch, but we got our main event here.
Oh, we do,
ladies and gentlemen. We got a 10-man lethal lockdown match.
Boom.
Not Team Canada.
Yes,
Team Angle.
Canada.
Team Angle, comprised of Jeff Jarrett, Kurt Angle, Rhino, Samoa Joe, and Sting, versus Team Christian Cage, comprised of Christian, Abyss, AJ Styles, Scott Steiner, and Tyson Tomko.
Yes.
What an all-star game. What an all-star game. Lethal Lockdown, for those unfamiliar, it's basically War Games with one ring. When everybody gets in the ring, they drop the ceiling, and there are weapons hanging from the ceiling.
Boom.
That you can use, and boom. Bob's your uncle. That's
Boom.
it. What are your thoughts on this style of match, this War Games style match, I guess, just in general?
I like the War Games.
Do you?
Yeah, I do, actually.
Whenever I'm watching a War Games match, because it's like nothing matters until everybody's in the ring. So it just feels like a lot of tedious bullshit up until it starts mattering. So that's my only problem with it.
Makes sense. I
You know
mean,
what I'm saying?
makes sense. Yeah. See, for me, like, I haven't been watching this particular program. So for this, like, I'm excited to see when, like, because I wasn't watching TNA, like when AJ and Angle start, like, that's fun for me because I'm not familiar seeing these guys in TNA wrestle each other. It's not. So a lot of the War Games I watched growing up usually involved the Four Horsemen. And it was always kind of NWA, WCW paint by numbers with their War Games. So to see a different company do it, because, WWE is not doing War Games until 13 years after this, right? So
right.
This is the first time you're seeing War Games not presented by WCW, and I was excited for this. And I really surprisingly enjoyed this match. I don't think we mentioned it, but it's whoever gets the pinfall in this match, no matter what team they're on, gets a shot at Christian Cage, who is your NWA TNA World Champion.
So there's stakes to it. It's a good point. So yeah, this is the third Lethal Lockdown match that they've done up to this point. Okay, it's by far the best that they've done, and the other ones weren't great, but this one I would agree. This was a pretty good match. Some fun spots, especially like at the end of the match, Kurt and AJ start the match. That portion of the match is fun, and then you got people coming in. You get Rhino you get Abyss first because Team Cage has the advantage, and then Rhino, Tomko, Joe, then Steiner, then Sting, then Christian, then Jarrett is the last one. So, and it's at that point where everything kind of breaks down. It gets really fun. Oh, by the way, we should mention, I don't know how we didn't mention the keeper of the cage, Mr. Harley Race. Oh, yeah. King here. Little St. Louis boy up in this mug. He's holding the keys to the cage, I guess. He's the enforcer.
Yeah, he's the enforcer. Yeah. The special gatekeeper.
Is it gatekeeper or keeper of the cage? Gatekeeper.
I'm going gatekeeper.
Okay, I'm with you. Hey, what do you? So you're a big baseball guy.
Oh yeah,
right.
Love it.
I have a question. Are the Pirates in the same division as the Cardinals?
They are.
So you got Kurt Angle here, known Pittsburgh athlete, out here, but in a St. Louis Cardinals jersey. A little bit of a pander bear, no?
Yeah, but also like at this time, the Cardinals
Pirates weren't shit.
Yeah, and the Cardinals had just won the World Series.
Oh. Mark McGuire.
Mark McGuire is not part of that team.
Jimmy, who's the guy that did the flips?
Ozzie
Rollins?
Smith.
Ozzie Smith.
Ozzie Smith also not part of that team.
Not a member of the 2004 season, I guess.
2007 is where we are.
Fuck, I keep forgetting where we. I watch so many so many eras. I get my wires crossed.
I was actually in St. Louis for opening day in 2007.
Hello. Well, look at you. Did you see Harley race?
No, but I saw the Mets beat the Cardinals, and it was fantastic.
Well, that's fun. That's fun. Well, we both got to see a little Lethal Lockdown match. So there's some fun stuff. We got a 6-person Tower of Doom with AJ at the top. We got Steiner throwing out a Frankensteiner in 2007.
Right.
Which Mike Tenay damn near creamed his pants watching it.
I don't blame him. I almost creamed my pants too.
I mean, they're a little cream, maybe a little pre-cream.
And then we got AJ jumping off the top of the cage, which definitely made me forget about Gail Kim doing that.
He didn't jump off the cage. He was thrown from it.
All right, fair enough.
All right. But before we get there,
so
you're just
sorry. It was exciting. I was excited about that.
We got to massage it a little bit before we get there.
Sorry.
So we got Hawk Tua on that thing before we get there.
Stop. That's so fucking. By the time this show comes out, she's done already. Her 15 minutes of fame are up.
No.
The show could come out fucking tomorrow, and she's done already. She's gone.
I hope so.
So
Jarrett gets in there. So the main storyline here is, can Team Angle trust Jarrett? So Jarrett gets in there, House of Fire, throwing out drop kicks on everybody. He strokes AJ.
Hey, I'm going to cut you off, and I'm going to ask you a question.
What's up?
Going into this, did you trust Jeff Jarrett?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I saw no reason. He was a changed man after Bound for Glory.
Interesting.
He rode off into the sunset for a little bit, Yeah. Maybe it's just my naivete.
All right. I didn't trust him. I thought he was gonna screw somebody over here. I was proven wrong. Man. Sorry. Back to you describing him as a house of fire.
He's a house of fire. He's just. It did make me laugh though, because he got in and he's throwing all these drop kicks and the crowd's just on their hands. They couldn't care less. But the ceiling now drops because everybody's in the match, and there is just an obscene amount of pyro, by the way, shooting into the ring, which doesn't seem up to fire code, but who am I? So now they have access to the weapons that are hanging from the ceiling. So Jarrett gets up there and he's trying to let his team know, hey, I'm with you. So he takes a bat, throws it to Sting, takes a trash can, gives it to Rhino, takes a nightstick, hands it to Joe.
Very strategic on Jeff Jarrett's part.
He knows what weapons their specialties are at. So he's in the good graces. Yeah.
Why doesn't James Mitchell give Abyss the thumbtacks earlier? Why does he wait until everybody's got weapons? Wouldn't you want the advantage?
It's a good question. Maybe he wants to do maximum damage by waiting until everybody's in the ring. So
but wouldn't you want to if you could take out Sting before it's 5-on-5,
right?
Turn him into a pincushion. Then it's 4-on-5. You have the advantage.
Well, I'll tell you this. I actually do have an answer. It's
what is that thing you keep holding up in front of the screen?
It is my. It's my.
Is that your JO
trying
sock?
to think of another word. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. My black JO sock.
Nice.
It is it's a little wrist guard action.
It's a big fucking wrist guard, dude.
Thanks, man. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, the tax.
The tax.
James Mitchell.
Yep.
He couldn't get to the tax because the gatekeeper of the cage was preventing him. Harley Race was all up in his ass, so he wouldn't let Mitchell do anything.
Yeah, but then he wasn't up in his ass when he threw him in.
Well, he got distracted. He saw the pyro. The weapons are everywhere. Harley Race, he's old. He got distracted.
You think he thought when they turned the lights out it was the Undertaker and not Jeff Jarrett?
Maybe he fell asleep.
Oh.
It's past his bedtime.
Was he, a fucking parrot? Throw a fucking pillow, throw a towel over his head and he falls asleep.
Yeah, love to throw a pillow at a bird. That'll always make him fall asleep. So yeah, Tax get involved. Like you mentioned, I think ultimately Christian ends up getting double choke slammed into these Tax by Jarrett and Sting. Anything else in this match catch your anal here?
I like the finish.
I do too. Yeah, it was actually pretty sexy. Yeah, like you mentioned, Kurt and AJ eventually fight to the top of the cage because there's like, I guess, a hole in the ceiling.
Always a hole.
Always a hole in the ceiling. AJ leaps, grabs the hole, climbs up to the top. Kurt follows him. They battle on the top, and under them, by golly, all hell's breaking loose. The door gets open. I forget how. Probably doesn't matter. Rhino and Tomko. Oh, no. Rhino gores Tomko through the door.
Oh, yeah.
Which is pretty sick. Joe follows them with a suicide dive. Steiner's out there with a trash can lid. They're all fighting out there. Meanwhile, on top of the cage, Kurt punches AJ and sends AJ Styles careening to the floor onto this pile of bodies, which is a lot of trust.
It was cool. Let me ask you this.
Ask me.
So after that spot, it's what? Abyss, Sting, and Jarrett? Right? They're the only three standing. And Abyss loads the guitar up with the Tax.
Hell yeah.
And then he gives it to Jarrett. Why doesn't Abyss just use the guitar himself?
Did he not get it like knocked out of his hands?
No, he gives it to Jarrett. And then Jarrett tells, because Abyss wants him to blast Sting with the guitar. But then Jarrett says, Sting, move over, buddy.
Maybe Abyss doesn't know how to handle a guitar.
Well, I think the idea was that Abyss was, Jeff Jarrett was going to do right by Team Christian Cage.
Right.
But he wasn't. No,
Little did he know.
Double J can be trusted. He spends his day working hard on the go.
That's what they say.
And then he fucking blasts Abyss with the guitar.
Brother, a guitar full of Tax is awesome. That rules ass.
And then the coup de grace, Jarrett tells Sting to make the cover. What a guy.
What a friend. And then Sting does make the pin and gets the 1, 2, 3. So Jarrett, Double J, I guess you can trust a fella, huh? The last outlaw, what does he call himself nowadays?
At this version or now?
Yeah, AEW.
Oh, fuck, Fino, man. They're going to fuck that whole Owen Hart thing up. And
the man with the black hat.
It's going to piss me off to no end.
No, he's going to win, man. I don't know. He's going to main event Wembley.
I don't think he needs to main event, but I do think he needs to get to the finals in Calgary and lose to Bryan Danielson. But that's a whole nother podcast for a whole nother day. But then the question is, right? Kurt Angle trusted Jeff Jarrett. So you think Jeff Jarrett was there to possibly put Angle in the situation where he would get the pinfall, but he gives it to Sting. So now, should Kurt Angle have trusted Jeff Jarrett?
How the turns have tabled, ladies and gentlemen.
Unbelievable.
I mean, good golly, the match ends. Jarrett and Sting shake hands. They had been feuded for the entirety of 06. But now it's like, all right, I respect you. Joe and Rhino, who are both spitting in anger about Jeff Jarrett, they shake the hand of old Double J Ski. Kurt Angle, who was at the top of the cage, comes down. He's on the top rope. He's looking at this. He's like shaking his head. He's pissed, and he storms out.
Maybe he knew Jeff was stooping his wife.
I don't think.
That hasn't.
I don't know if he would have
happened.
Made him his fifth. I don't think he would have made him his team member if that was happening. Maybe he brought him into the team in hopes that he would die in this match.
Well, I think he was brought onto the team because maybe Kurt Angle didn't have the purest motives. And he wanted to turn all the attention on JJ so Kurt Angle could be a little bit of a dirtbag.
I like what you're saying. I like those words that are coming out of that pretty mouth of yours.
Thanks. No one ever said I had a pretty mouth.
Well, you do.
Oh, you're you're a nice guy.
Very supple. Just like Brian Knobb's asshole. But that's where we're at. And I guess we'll just have to tune in this Thursday on Impact on Spike TV to see the aftermath of this.
Oh, do you do that to yourself? You watch it like it's in real time?
No.
Oh.
I'll binge like a month of TNA all at once. Just
really
shove it into me and see what happens.
That's bold. I wish I had time to do that kind of shit.
Yeah, they're quick. They're quick hitters, you know, like 45-minute episodes.
It's not bad.
Have it on the background doing something.
Oh, well, then you're not really paying attention.
I'm not sitting down on my couch with a bowl of popcorn like, oh, what's Eric Young got up for me today? It's like, no, just, absorb it through osmosis a lot. But yes.
All right. I like that.
That's Lockdown 07, buddy. Any other what would you grade this show? Maybe, scale of 0 to 10. What do you think you'd throw at it?
I give it a 7.
Yeah?
Yeah,
it was solid.
I like the opening match. I like Lynn and Daniels. I like the main event. The women's match wasn't great. Eric Young, Bobby Roode was okay. I don't like the Dudleys, so I didn't like the tag match and the blindfold match. You just have to see, just to say you watched it, and then it would all make sense why it was the worst match of the year in 2007.
Not good, but yeah, I think there was enough good on this show. It ended on a high note. And there was some other, the opening match was good. It was bookended by good stuff and a few good stuff in between. So even the bad stuff had some entertainment value because of how bad it was. So
it was
a good one.
I was not mad that I watched this.
Well, that's all you could ask for. I mean, because it's, from what I've been watching, TNA is very hit and miss, but this was a shining star. But speaking of shining, speaking of wizards, speaking of wrestling podcasts, you all should go check out the Shining Wizards Wrestling Podcast. Once again, Matt, appreciate you checking out the show, coming on, talking about it. Where can everybody find you and your boys and your beautiful voice and your supple mouth?
Well, every Monday night we're live on YouTube and Twitter and all forms of social media at Wizards Podcast is the handle. And then we are available wherever you listen to podcasts. Just throw Shining Wizards Wrestling Podcast into that search bar and you'll find us every third Monday of the month. Kyle joins us for what we call HJC, Hand Job Corner. So we're talking whatever the hottest happenings of that week are in the world of pro wrestling. So check it out. We're on the road to 700. I don't know when this drops, but the end of July, we will be celebrating our 700th episode.
Nice. This will be, so when you're listening to this, we're about 2 weeks away from that, a week and a half away, maybe.
Fuck yeah.
So go check her out. It's a good old time. Love coming on, giving you guys a bunch of hand jobs, and appreciate you guys having me.
We love having you, Kyle. You fit right in with us.
Oh, fit in me,
Yeah. Plug it in.
I don't know how to end
Plug
shows.
it in like it's an electrified cage. Buzz! Well, you know what? Let's border toss it over to you and find out where this falls in your standings.
Once again, thank you to old Double T for joining the program today. Always a good time with Matt. Go check out the Shining Wizards wherever you listen to podcasts, as well as live every Monday at 7. They have a hoot. It's all hoot and a nanny over there, so go check it out. Highly recommend it. Check out all my shit if you want on YouTube, wherever you listen to podcasts. Make sure you give the show a rating, a review, a thumbs up, a thumb in my ass, all that stuff. And yeah, I think that about does it. I think I'm gonna make my way downtown. Walking fast, faces past, and I'm homebound. I hope that doesn't get me copyright stricken. Oh, suck me dry. Well, that's about all I got for you guys today. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Love you all. Big old smooches all around your face. I'm hard.
Yeah. And the hardest, talk around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what heart is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock it. Let's get it started. It's the hardest. talk around, don't disregard it. Sweep you off the ground, show you what heart is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock this. Let's get started.